Hello and welcome to the March 2019 Sunshine Summit. My name is Heather and I am your host. This week, in association with Geeks Rising, I'm bringing to you a week of live streams to recognize and celebrate connections. This is day 8, the finale of a huge week of amazing connections that we've made with incredible people throughout. And it is amazing to see everybody here in the live chat with us. If you miss us live, that's okay. There are replays and we'd love for you to check them out afterwards. This, like I said, is day 8. We've had amazing guests throughout the event. We launched with Csomo from the Varmints podcast. Day 2, we had Ducky from theduckracy.com and Jim Collison from Home Gadget Geeks. Then we were joined by Steph, Fuccio, a wonderful light in the podcasting space from Expat Rewind, Virtual Expats and Changing Scripts. And then we were joined by Wynne Kelly-Charles and Mark Diaz from Mark's Movie Collection. We had Adela Mizrachi from the podcast Brunch Club, which was awesome to reconnect with her, and Nick Haskins from Epic Film Guys and Livestream for the Cure. We were joined yesterday by Dean and Nath from Regen Erasing and the Either or Neither podcast, and just moments ago, we were joined by Chris and Kaylee Osborne from Play Comics and the Meddling Kids podcast. And what an incredible way to round out this week's with 2 amazing, hilarious, funny ladies. We're from Two Girls on a Bench, and welcome to the Sunshine Summit to the 2 of you. Hey Tricia and Shauna, how are you?
Good.
Hello. We are good.
So nice to be here.
Yes, very excited. We brought our bench.
Yay, the bench is in the studio. And as everyone can see, we've got all festive for today. Thank you for doing that.
We are very festive. Yes, we love this holiday.
Well, and can we say what else it is besides St. Patrick's Day?
Yes.
It is Heather's birthday. Yay!
Thank you so much. Yeah. That was amazing. Thank you.
We're here to serenade you.
That was wonderful. I don't think I've ever had the kazoo played for my birthday before. So.
Really? Well, we're going to call you every year now.
We're going to have to make it a tradition. Yeah, from now on. Oh you can't go back once you've had kazoos.
No. No. Thank you both for being here. You are the hosts of Two Girls on a Bench, which is an amazing podcast. It is, and I also just want to say a huge thank you for the effort that you put into filling in the registration form that I had for the summit, because you had amazing things that you were very thoughtful and detailed in your response there, and it was just amazing. Sure. And I got to hear on your episode, because you've just celebrated a big event in your podcast, and you mentioned there that you'd seen me last year and you were keen to be a part of this. So I'm so glad that you are, and welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's one of our goals after kind of getting 1 year under our belt to join you and to be on live stream for the Cure. And we're doing both this year, which is so fun.
That is exciting.
So, yeah.
We just talked with Nick earlier this week about Livestream for the Cure, and it is a huge event that he's putting together and is going to do amazing things, raising funds for the Cancer Research Institute. So very excited that you're going to be a part of that, because I know that your segment is going to be a lot of fun, and yeah.
We'll see what we do. We don't even know yet. It's so exciting.
I know. Well, we had an interview with a friend of ours who's a medium, and she has offered a free reading for anyone who donates $100 gift to the foundation. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping to give that away on live, if we can. So
that's awesome.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick reckons I'm going to sing again. I don't know about that. I don't know. That wasn't my idea last time.
I saw you sing last time. Actually, I thought you were a singer because that was the first time I really saw you, and then I started stalking you on Twitter.
Okay. I'm glad that you did. Yeah.
But didn't you play guitar too?
No, I was in the choir back in high school and stuff. I play the flute, but I don't play the guitar. Yeah.
Ooh.
We won't go into that. That's how other.
So I play the kazoo.
Yeah.
That's my main instrument. Mm-hmm. And then my backup instrument is the slide whistle. So,
we really should have been DJs on the radio in the 70s or something. I want one of those panels.
In the 70s when we were 3.
Yeah, Epic Film Guys has a panel where they have all those sound effects. I want one of those. That's my next goal.
That will be interesting to see what you put on a soundboard and all the amazing and incredible fun sounds that you'd have there.
I know.
You do bring
We
them.
usually just make the sound effects.
Yeah, you do. You make them for your show, and that is awesome. You do a lot of incredible things through your show and have an amazing way of engaging with people through it. So I wanted to definitely shine a light on that and share the connections that you've made along your journey. So you've been podcasting for a year now. What have been some of the main important connections that have helped you get you to where you are today?
You go.
All right.
She's the connector, I have to say.
I would say that I remember when we first decided to start, I started searching on Twitter for podcasts and was completely overwhelmed by how many there were. I had no idea. Like, I don't think either of us were aware of the momentum.
It's such another world. Yeah. It's another world. Yeah.
So one of the things I found right away was Podern Family, the hashtag. And then I found a number of podcasts off that, including Epic Film Guys, of course. And I found More Gooder Than and the Podfix Network. And then a group started inviting me to do a DM thing where we exchange tweets and talk. And so in talking to that group, we've actually become really good friends. Cool. And that, in addition to Lady Pod Squad, which you've mentioned, and it's the WLI Pod Peeps. It was started by Derek from Work, Life, and Balance. And we have a group of like...
there it is. WLI Pod Peeps.
Yep. So we
also, I'm sorry that I scared somebody's dog with my slide whistle. Okay, keep going.
We have this group where it's like become a family. Someone said that we're the crazy cousins that come to the party. And then there's Mel from Brook Reading Pod, who is like the mom of the family. And I think Derek might be the dad. I'm not sure, but anyways, it's just become this place where you can go and vent. Drew from Real Feels had his equipment robbed, and we did a fundraiser for that, which was amazing. And it's like no matter what's going on, we actually made a separate room now just for chatting because we're so integrated in each other's lives, and the connections are so strong. Even though, like, when you came on camera, we've never spoken to you face to face, but we feel like we know you from listening to your voice and all the communications. So it was amazing, and I was just like completely sucked in. And I think the thing that I've learned the most from social media is it's about giving without expectations. Mm-hmm. So the more you give, the more you get in return. And just because you're giving, you don't have to even ask people. They will help support you and come listen to your show and give you a chance. And all you have to do is make that first effort. Yeah. So it's been incredible.
And there's really like enough room for everybody, I think. I mean, even though that there are multiple podcasts about similar topics, there's still like plenty of room because everybody's got a unique voice, I mean, I can listen to 10 different true crime podcasts and I can still never get enough. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that that's what's fun about this too, is it's not like, oh my gosh, we have to like hold on to our tiny space and like not let anyone else in it. It's like, hey, there's other writing podcasts and other reading podcasts and then just other fun ones, movie ones, different ones. And we're all just friends and it's cool. So
I know when you were talking to Wen the other day, she said, you asked her how she gets her guests, and she's like, it's funny, you just have to ask. Yep. And people say yes. And that's totally true. Like, that's how every accomplishment we've made has just been from a reach out. Yeah. From a connection.
Yeah. It's amazing how simple that seems and yet how hard it seems on the other side of it. But amazing things can happen when you do push past whatever fear or anything that's holding you back from just asking, and can make amazing things happen. We've had some cool things in the chat. Real Feels Pod said, I'm the little brother, lol.
Oh, yes.
In that family.
In the family.
Little brother.
Yep. And come on, ladies, it's not like everyone does a movie podcast or something. Lol. Joking.
We were going to do a movie podcast first,
but
then we realized, we wanted to do a Lifetime movie podcast, but then we found Malls, Mother May I Sleep With podcast, and decided that was a much better way of doing it. And we should stick to what we know.
And we should just do something else.
And we don't have time to watch all those movies.
Yeah,
so.
that's the other thing.
Yeah. So in the way that you described it to me, like you've made the Bench Right Club, you have the bench there with you. I think that's an amazing concept. It's the two of you together. You have an amazing connection with each other. So would you be able to re-share your connection story with each other?
Sure. Well, we've been friends since college. We met, we were actually in the same dorm in rooms next door to each other. And then later became roommates. That first year, you don't get to pick.
Nope.
So, but anyway, yeah. So so that's where we met, and we just started hanging out. And we actually did a radio show on our college radio where we before there was, video that you could do, we would still wear costumes. So just so you guys know, on our podcast, we might be wearing weird stuff just for ourselves.
We also used puppets on our radio.
Yeah, we used to use puppets. It was,
no one could see us.
It was great. It was mostly just for our own amusement, I think. But yeah, so that's kind of how we started out. And then we've been writing together ever since, I think, pretty much. So
yeah, we sort of connected in theater, drama club and stuff like that in college, and then we started doing some funky performance art stuff and in stretching our writing chops together.
That's
and
what performance art looks like.
So
yeah, so we literally have a picture of us doing that.
We do. Yeah. So it kind of spread from there, and then we remained roommates after college for 7 years.
Wow.
So, and we've lived sort of near each other ever since.
Yeah, we do. We always live so now in our houses we still live, and we moved to a couple different cities. It seems strange, but it's not. I don't know.
It wasn't even on purpose at first.
It wasn't on purpose. Yeah. And so our families were close, and
That's cool.
our kids are like cousins and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's an amazing long history that you have together, and you share the same passion for writing. So how did that sort of develop, your passion for writing?
I mean, I feel like I've always loved writing since I was little. Yeah, and we were both English majors. I mean, I think that's another thing to note. So we were into writing and reading and all of that, and very,
writing a lot of poetry.
Yeah, we would write each other. Speaking of poems, we have written some limericks for you, but we can get into that later. But so I think we've always been writers. I don't know. And then we just started writing performance art pieces together, and then that's when we really started writing together.
Well, first we used other people's words to do our performance art. So we would use Maya Angelou poems or whatever we were into at the moment, and we would then be on the stage and do something, or we would, get people like Brett to come be in it. And but then we realized we could write our own original content, and that's because I didn't let Shauna go to class one day. Remember? And I pushed you down the hill.
Yeah, we were really struggling going to our
an
8 a.m.
lit class.
No, it wasn't lit. It was what's the grammar one?
Oh,
linguistics. Oh my God. So our grammar is terrible, but we can write a fun little ditty if you'd like. So
I convinced Shauna not to go to linguistics, even though we were up at 8 a.m.
and walking there.
But
we were really late.
Going over to Denny's, which was one of our hangouts in this little town, and that's where we wrote our first show, which was actually called Generation X, which was about our generation.
People our age.
Yeah. But that's when we started dabbling in original content too. So we realized we could do that.
Cool. Brett in the chat said that I started writing again because of the bench. So that is a powerful connection that the bench has had for people to help and re-inspire them. I think I've seen that elsewhere on social media also, is that people say how positive it is. You have the Bench Right Club, which is a way of prompting people to be able to create something, and it doesn't have to be too intense. Just like today, you asked people to create limericks, and we're going to share some of them throughout the event. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we always put out a writing prompt that, we just want you to spend a couple minutes. And yeah, we've had a really great response. One person that's been responding since the very first time we asked for prompts was is a gal named Kayla who's on Twitter. And she was like our first real fan that we didn't know. Like, isn't like a friend or a fellow podcaster. So shout out to Kayla, who she couldn't watch today, but she's gonna watch the replay.
Hi, Kayla.
We call her our Sharpie because she's like the always on time, the most dependable writer, and she's made a goal for herself throughout the progress of our friendship through this to write 500 words a day, and no matter what's going on in her life, she does it now. And she said it's become easier because of the, just making it a routine.
Yeah.
So we're really proud of her and that connection.
Yeah, and I think the first time we did the Write Club, because we've done this 3-minute writing prompt for years, and it was the way that we would get ourselves going. Sometimes we'd write about a character or something to get us like going, just to get our brains working. And so, doing it with other people. And the first time I listened to it, I was like, this is so cool. Other people are writing. It was, I don't know if we really knew if anybody would send anything in or not.
We didn't.
And so it was kind of exciting to get that. And now it's like, we see it's like, oh, I mean, with some of these people, we've never met, but it's just like we start to know them through their writing, which is really, really cool too. So
it's really fun.
Yeah. We've got definitely that Bench Write Club is a fantastic niche. It is an incredible way of getting engagement with people who are listening to the podcast, but that it offers so much value to them to help inspire and encourage them and know that you'll read them and engage with what they've written. I think it's like this accountability thing or something, or just fun and an interesting way of doing it. And then, so very cool that people are getting on board with that and that you've made a connection right from the very beginning who wasn't someone that you know, Kayla. Hey, Kayla, by the way.
I know.
When you watch it.
I know.
So,
I was like, Shauna, I think it's a real person who, like,
not
the podcast is art, but
I think it's a real person.
Like, it's
not like the people we know, but a real person.
Yeah. We did have some sympathy on the 8 a.m. classes, have always been sleeping and will always be for
that's
sleeping.
My dad. Hi, Dad. I think that's my dad.
Is that your dad? Aw. Oh, yeah, he was in the first graduating class at our college. Yeah.
Yeah. Our college community has been so supportive of us, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And we've reconnected with some of our friends from college, too. So that's been really fun.
Yeah. That is amazing.
We try to pick everybody and read them if like we've recently said, no more than 200 words because we were getting some novellas. I was like, somebody must be some people are very good typists. So 3 minutes they can whip out 2 full pages of text. So
and we just want to make sure we have time to read everyone's. So that's why sometimes if we have too many that are long, we might just pick out like a piece of it to read.
The best line,
which is good too. I mean, it's just about sharing, and it's mostly about getting ourselves going. I think for everybody.
So we do them too. Every show we try and do some kind of writing, whether it's a list or a prompt.
Yeah, that is very cool.
This is like. So we seem like we're really like squinting to read,
which we are.
We're all, what did you say, kid?
We've got our first limerick. If we want to share one now, Bandrew created one. He said, there once was a guy who lived alone. He enjoyed audio gear and it filled his home. He didn't like money. It wasn't too funny, but now he's in love with microphones. And that's Bandrew from Podcastage.
Yay!
Love it. Yeah, I would agree. We didn't know anything about microphones, and like for Christmas and stuff, we're getting gifts from family members.
Mostly her husband.
Sound equipment.
Let's say who it is.
Yeah, my husband was a musician, so
he likes sound.
He helped us set up.
That's cool.
Not that we don't like sound. We just don't know anything. Well, you know a lot.
I do now.
Let me just say that I'm just here for the ride because Tricia's doing most of the work.
And it's a good ride, right? It's good fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Audio is hard. Let's just not deny that fact. It's not easy. Yeah. Have you got a limerick that you want to share now, just from one of your people? Because you've got quite a few submissions came in, which is incredible. Thank you to everyone who did send in submissions for today.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun.
I have one for you that's special that I think we should read at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so let's see.
Well, we wrote some, but let's read other people's first, and then if we have the time.
All right, let me do, because we were recently sick for quite a bit. So Chris from More Gooder Than, who's part of the Podfix Network, which we're part of as well.
Yes.
one of the other connections that we totally made by, I don't know, I just started stalking their hotline, leaving song messages and playing kazoos on the hotline and putting out challenges, and
now we've
friendship began. Yeah, we got to meet him
and his wife.
And we met Josh Hallmark. We haven't met Toph from Gravity Beard, but it's just like all these connections. Okay. All right. Okay. So from Chris Brayton, there once was a bench with two girls. They set the pod scene in a whirl. When they got stomach bugs and needed many hugs, into the toilets they did hurl. And that was true.
I'm glad that you both are feeling better, by the way, because that was quite... You were sick for a while and it was just not good.
No, and we were kind of like, yay, it's our 1-year podiversary. And then we were like silent for 2 weeks and we're like, we can't do it. We both were really sick. That was crazy. And then I fell on my knees, which sounds weird, but I mean, it was just like one of those things.
I mean, once you're over a certain age and you fall, it's painful, harder to come back
and embarrassing. Okay, so let's do... let's see. Cocktail Party Massacre podcast.
Okay.
Hosts are Brock and Pickens. I'm not sure which
the
one.
Podcast is Cocktail Party Massacre podcast, and they're like an audio drama with trivia. It's actually quite hilarious. Anyways, go ahead.
So, Linda was bright and quite heady, but no need to break out confetti. When you count your sheep and you fall to sleep, your smarts cannot save you from Freddy.
We have a side group called All the Horror, which in October we did content every day of October for horror, Halloween, scary stuff. So this is, I sent a message to that group and I asked them if they could write scary limericks. And so this is one of the responses.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I was trying to see if there was someone else from that, but I cannot tell at a glance. But
Andrew said that was an amazing nightmare reference. Oh, amazing nightmare reference.
It was good, right?
Yeah. Here's another one,
actually. About, do that one. She did that one.
Rhonda was known to be lucky. Her choices had never been sucky. Then she bought a toy for her little boy. Her luck's over because it was Chucky.
So if you like horror, fun little nods.
Do you want to read Kayla's?
Can I read Kayla's, Heather?
Yes, please do. Please do.
We will go on.
So Kayla, I love this. She sent me a note. She needed inspiration, so she pulled a random tarot card, and it was a picture of a woman with some cats. And so that was her inspiration. Kaylee loved her 3 cats. For them, she made small hats. She would upload photo shots, tweeting as kitten thoughts, hoping for high follower stats.
And then this next one, I'm just going to do another one. This is Brett Jordan, who's actually on the chat.
Hey, Brett.
There were 2 girls on a bench. The thirst for humor they quench. You best bring a snack or they will attack, shredding their image of mensch. Okay, I got a snack, by the way. I was ready for you. It's really crunchy and they'll make a lot of noise, but these are cassava chips with salt and vinegar. We've never had them before.
I love salt and vinegar.
I do too, but I've never had cassava chips. Have you had cassava chips before?
What does cassava mean?
It's like what does it mean? It's like a vegetable.
Oh.
What does it mean?
Is cassava a vegetable?
It means mystery.
She's really mean to me, and that was just a little example of how mean Shauna is.
The dynamics that you have are great together. That was thank you, Brett, for sharing that one. That was well done. And you do have the snack book, which is another element to your podcast. So you've got a snack there today. And can you tell us a little? Yeah, we're so hungry. I think we've had a food theme throughout this week, which has been really awesome. Steph in the chat says she's so hungry. It's 5 a.m. Oh my gosh. Well, good morning, Steph. And she wants coffee and chips.
Yeah, coffee and chips for breakfast. That sounds like my toddler. Well, I don't give him coffee, actually.
Oh my God, can you imagine how horrible that would be?
No. But snack book,
yeah.
So we used to have a blog called Two Girls on a Bench, go figure. And we used to write it in screenplay format where it was a dialogue between the two of us. So we'd have a little story and then it would be like Tricia, Shauna. So we essentially were writing out our podcast before we even started a podcast.
Kind of like we wrote it like a script in a
format. We even used the font and everything. And so we started every blog, we would have a snack and we would review snacks. Sometimes popcorn companies sent us things to review. Pop secret, we're talking to you. It's time for more samples. Yeah. But so that was fun. And we didn't really we really got into the blog community on Twitter, and we went to a couple of conferences and we made like a blog tribe of other fellow-minded authors.
It was kind of like this, but it was blogging.
Yeah. So this is going on 12 years ago at least. So the snack book, that was when I first learned about hashtags, and I didn't want to be on Twitter. I was angry about Twitter because I had just.
But she's like the Twitter master.
I am now.
Twitter master.
But at that time, it seemed like just another weird social media thing I had to. I know, making it sounds so dumb to say it now, but it was. I literally met somebody on Twitter who gave me a lesson, and no one else showed up for her free lesson. It was like a webinar about how to make hashtags, how to use automated tweeting programs, how to create marketed tweets for your brand. And Snackbook was my brainstorm out of that, because I was like, we need a hashtag that people can search that just is about us. And so
we wanted all our snacks.
Yeah. So we wanted to write a snack book, literally, for writers.
Yeah.
We haven't written that yet.
We have been wanting to write that one of the keys in our recurring themes is that we procrastinate a lot, which is like what writers do. It's like, I should sit down and write my novel, but instead I'm going to mop the floor. Like, you'll do anything to avoid, stuff you never do. You're like, I'm going to dust every nook and cranny of this, shelf. So yeah, I think that's, this is kind of us procrastinating, but it's become a lot more fun than that.
Yeah, it's become what we call our snack section. And eventually that collection that we've developed through the blog and through now the podcast will become something. And because there's always pictures involved. That was our blog was very photo-centric. So so we have a little snack cabinet, and I guess you can't really see it, with all our stickers from...
Oh wait! I wonder if I open it.
Yeah,
you can see kind of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we hide things in there.
There's more, but you can't see them all.
From my kids.
Yeah, we're hiding them.
But yeah, that was sort of like our reward for sitting down and getting together to write. Even before we had a blog, that was like, okay, we're gonna have popcorn and wine, or we're gonna have this and that.
Cook. We also like to cook. We'd be like, let's make spaghetti squash, because we've never. Back then it was new. It's not new now, but we were like, let's try it out.
3 kids, we would get together like, I don't know, twice a week.
3 kids. We had a lot more time.
Yeah, we had a different schedule where we would meet and we would work on our screenplays and
They might be watching. I'm not sure.
We did meet Fluffernutters. Drew. Sorry, I just said it out loud. Drew was on our podcast for All the Horror last year, and
we like Brussels sprouts.
We talked a lot about marshmallows.
Well, we talked about marshmallows, and then we were talking about Fluffernutter, and who was it? We knew it, but you didn't know what it was. Yeah, it's a peanut butter sandwich with marshmallow fluff. It's delicious. Tricia had never heard of it, and she thought we were making it up, or I don't know. And we went on about it for like a good long time.
I hadn't heard of them. Yay. I've never had one.
It's so good. Go make it right now.
I'll wait.
She likes nothing.
I just want to say,
except lots of stuff. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm all, but not the cheap, crappy stuff. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to say to Brett, he made them. So I think maybe was it Fluffernutters, but he's missing his great nephew's first birthday to watch the live stream. So family's really important. I really appreciate that you're here today to be with us.
Yeah,
and I definitely hope.
Totally hang up right now and go to that party. That's fine.
You can also have it on your phone
with your
headset, and you can hear us.
You can just, bring your nephew
Yeah.
We'll say hi. We can also play him happy birthday.
Yeah.
So share the love.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, and also
to share a birthday. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, also Brett Jordan said he was eating like mac and cheese egg rolls. What's that? I want that. Send me the recipe.
It sounds like an appetizer from like Cheesecake Factory or something.
I don't know. I've never had it. It sounds great though.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese egg rolls. Yeah, sounds good.
Just like
what is your favorite snack?
Yeah,
what is your favorite snack, Heather?
I like salt and vinegar chips a lot. I like chocolate.
Ooh.
I like a lot of sweet things that I probably shouldn't have. Yeah.
And you've got a cake. You've got a pretty cake.
I've got quite a big snack today for my birthday. My sister made that.
Good.
It's a butter cake.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
We can't see it right now, but it's pretty. I saw it when we first started talking.
Oh, cool.
I think it's in the screen now. I'll just cut to me, and there it is. It's got a little happy face on it, and it's all yellow and
it's so
bright and chirpy.
It's so shiny. Oh wait, Tricia's gonna try.
Whoa! Everything disappear. If I scroll up over. Oh no, never mind.
No, we'll just remember it fondly. We don't want to mess with technology in the middle of doing something. It took us a really long time to get like our headphones figured out.
It's a balance.
I bought a bunch of connections that don't work, so that was fun. Yeah.
So that's not a great connection when it doesn't work, but you managed to find connections that do work to connect with us today. I'm so glad that you're here. I do want to just
look at you. Bringing it all together. I love it.
Yeah. I want to just pop back a little bit because Steph asked a great question about your podcast, about going back to the beginning. Have you listened back to the earlier episodes and do you have thoughts on them? She feels like that hers are done by a different person sometimes.
Yes. I feel like we weren't as organized, but I mean, that sounds funny because we're not
that organized, but better than
there's an organization within our disorganization or our disheveled nature within the podcast now. I also feel like the sound has improved because my ear has improved.
Yeah.
And then we do something now that we learned. We went to the Outlier Festival in Los Angeles. That's created by a gentleman named Ever Gonzalez. And there's an Outlier Facebook group and podcast that they bring connections. They're having another festival in a week in Austin, Texas.
Cool.
And then another one in Los Angeles where he asked us to come back and talk about like what we learned in that first year.
Right.
But there were breakout sessions where other really well-known and traversed podcasters would give advice. And one of the things was prepare.
and also to give like a really concise opening.
First 5 minutes.
Yeah, so
like
that
who,
people
what,
know.
when, where. Yeah, what's going on.
Yeah.
So then we
didn't do that in the beginning.
No, we just started talking. So now you'll hear some random words in the beginning, which is our performance arty way of introducing some of the topics.
Yeah.
And then, usually Tricia sings a little song from something, which is also from our performance arts days.
I like to rewrite the words to songs a lot.
She's good at
it. So now we do that, and then we have a writing quote-based quote every show, and we kind of give a little overcap of what we're going to cover, and then we kind of start in with the sort of our download of conversation, and then go into each segment after that. So that's improved. I feel like.
Yeah, we didn't have that in the beginning at all. We were just sort of rambling.
But we didn't air the first couple of attempts, and let me tell you,
they had no order. I mean, we created like the
segments.
snack book and the writing prompt. Like because at first we just talked.
Yeah, we talked a lot.
Which we do now too, but it was like, what is this chaos I'm listening to?
Yeah, it was weird and awkward, and we were not being genuine.
Yeah,
and so it's taken a while to just relax because it's like you get that microphone in front of your face, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have to,
Well, and it's weird. I feel like seeing myself is so much weirder. Actually, that's what I love about the podcast is it doesn't we don't have to worry about.
We can be
I could be still wearing this, but like I wouldn't be concerned about what I look like. But I think that's what's so cool about it. And it's so bizarre when you meet the people with their disembodied voice. Like seeing you, Heather, in person is so different because we've been listening to you.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's what she looks like. I mean, it's just so funny to actually see people talk with their voice. It's all joke. Anyway.
Yeah. That is awesome that you've seen the progression come through. I definitely think it takes a while to get confidence on a microphone. Like when I began, I wanted it to be so perfect and in this perfect way and sound this particular way, and I got hoarse. Like I redid it so many times trying to get it right. I got hoarse, and they sound a little bit stilted because I'm trying really hard to be something, and it wasn't not genuine. I guess I don't know what the opposite of not genuine is right now. My head's words are hard.
Like
disingenuous.
Disingenuous. Let me get the thesaurus here.
It's handy. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's awesome that you had progression, and it's confidence, it's experience, and it's learning what works and getting the engagement and feedback from the audience, and you make it a fun listen. I was in stitches listening to your celebratory episode. Just it was great.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes I re-listen. Well, I often re-listen because I edit the podcast, so if there's an editing mistake, that's me. But I'll re-listen and I'll find myself laughing to what we're talking about, and I'm like, am I just laughing because I think that was funny, or is it actually funny? So it's good to hear other people laughing about what we do because we're pretty cheesy.
Well, we think that things that each other says are funny.
Yeah.
But because we've been friends so long, we're not sure if that's
always
universal,
that
or is
way.
it just us? Yeah, for sure. I want to say, Heather, too, I like your podcast a lot, and I listen to it when I need to sort of like relax. The other day I was driving to work and I was getting stressed out, and I put one of yours on, and I was like, okay, I'm going to think about birds and the way they sound, and I'm going to just be calm. So thank you for bringing that, because it's a little crazy in my head, so I need your voice too.
Yeah.
You're most
I love
welcome.
that too.
I love that it does that for people. I am a little bit concerned when everyone does like suggest podcasts for people who are on road trips. I'm like, mine's really quite relaxing. Like it's probably not safe to listen to whilst driving. Come on.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Maybe listen to it afterwards and unwind from the road rage or something. But yeah. That means
if you drive in LA, you're constantly in the middle of road rage. So sometimes having a little calm voice is really a good thing.
That's good. At least it's not going to put you to sleep. You've got plenty to focus on while you're driving because you need to keep your wits about you, I think. Just going back to writing and things, I have a connection with writing too. I've been really passionate about it since I was a young person. I wrote my first story, and for Banjo in the chat, he'll be pleased to know that it was a horror story because Banjo's really into horror. It horrified my mother, and she was almost disappointed that was my first story that I came out with.
How old were you? Were you younger?
I read in right before I went to school, and school starts at 5 here, so I think I was about 5.5, and she was disgusted.
With a horror story.
With a horror story.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, where is this coming from? I'd be really impressed though.
Yeah.
I just
my
brought that up.
4-year-old can't read.
I just brought that up
have
because
other things going on.
Yeah, there was the thing about Brett said he saw the cake earlier and thought it was a great visual for Heather because I'm sweet and thank you, and I usually am, but I apparently had a bit of a horrific bent at the beginning. Wanted to express myself in that way.
Hey, well, if you're up for it in October, we'll be doing all the horror again, and
we'll do a writing prompt.
We'll do scary tales again.
Doing stuff with other people, which was so fun this last year.
Yeah, we wrote a little audio drama for Tim Gibson's podcast called The Cabinet, which is about like video games are called a cabinet, which I didn't know until
the thing that they're in.
Yeah, like
old
the
school video games cabinet. Not the ones from now. But.
And he talks about like Ghost in the Machine stories, like and all like even like weird quips in Excel on line blah 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 million. You'll find a secret code or whatever. So it's a very mystery, sometimes spooky podcast, and he had us along with one of our patrons and good friends, the guys from Karaoke Big E, who do karaoke on their show, and they're actually good singers. Like when I first heard that, I was like, I want to know if I will listen to karaoke.
No, they're good.
They're really actually good, and they do all different genres. But so they did.
They did different pieces.
Pieces of it.
It was like our story, and then a story that was kind of going through it all, and then someone else
there
was
were
sort of
4
like
commentating,
commentating, and then another one was the karaoke, and they did it like in a karaoke bar. It was great. Yeah. I mean, it was quite about
experience,
creativity, and it made us write, because we were like, oh my god, we have to write this,
study a story.
Of course, we totally like.
It was super fun, and we did the acting, and I did the sound effects, and I learned a lot about that. Yeah. And then we invited people to write stories for our show, and Kayla, who we mentioned, wrote one, and we also did the voice acting for that and did sound effects for that. It's about going into a psychic bookstore and then sort of getting kidnapped, and it's very short but really good.
Awesome.
So all that October content, it was super fun. So you want to watch a movie? We watched what did we watch for Epic Film, guys? The Exorcist.
Oh, The Exorcist. Yeah. And then we watched a movie, The Raven, about Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah. So, and we talked about that. So, yeah, it's fun. I don't know. I thought we watched a few movies.
Yeah, we did.
A good time. We should do one with you, Heather.
That would be interesting.
You can, if you still have your horror story from your toddler years.
Oh my gosh, do you still have it? Yeah, do you have it?
I have a feeling that my mum has a suitcase, and it may very well be in there. So I'm going to go and check that out, but I will let you know.
You have some time.
Yeah. Brett said that his wife loves horror, and she listened to #all the horror episodes on the bench and was like, these girls rock.
Oh, thank you.
Sweet. Thank you, Brett's wife.
Yeah.
We're hoping.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say we're hoping to dive more into audio drama, maybe with better voice actors. But definitely.
Are you saying that I'm not a good voice actor?
No, you're really good. I'm not.
No, you're not. You're always the one that does like the actual character, and I'm always like the straight man or whatever, except I'm not a man. But anyway,
very self-critical.
So, well, we prefer. I mean, I love. We really are like gotten into audio dramas, listening to them, and I think like it's also an opportunity for a lot of actors to sort of get out there too. And so we used to do a lot of plays. Really, was what we wrote and directed and produced a lot of theater productions, and so we like working with actors. I mean, that's fun for us too, and sort of seeing them bring characters to life in a different way than we would, which is like also really cool. So so we're working on one.
Cool.
We have some script ideas we procrastinated into completing this,
and now it's a podcast.
Like it started as a play, and then it was going to be a TV show, and now it's going to be an audio drama.
Yeah.
So, but it's good that it's transitioned.
And next it will just be a limerick, because we will not have time to finish.
On that note, are there any more limericks that you want to read out?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, we should.
So many.
Okay, so Derek. Work-life imbalance. Why do I keep leaning into the microphone?
I don't know. I do too. Okay. And I don't know why.
Okay. So work-life imbalance. Some podcasts started a group, so their downloads would not droop. You know how this ends. They became great friends, and all they talk about is poop.
That's the group we were talking about.
This?
Oh, yeah.
This one is slightly naughty.
That's okay. Just don't say that last word.
Well, you do it.
Okay. The work-life imbalance group. Sometimes there's some pretty good fart jokes. Yeah. Okay, potty humor. All right. This is from Kelly from a podcast called Boobies and Newbies, and the premise of her show is she has people who don't usually read romance novels read one and then come and talk to her about it because she loves them.
And we're gonna do that.
We're doing that if I finish that book.
Yeah, we have to finish the book. Once again, procrastination. Okay.
But so she finally submitted a writing prompt. She was super proud to finally submit this. So, do you know that romance books rock? You should try them before you mock. Just give them a chance. You'll love the romance. Not to mention the big throbbing bleed.
Word that sounds with rock.
It rhymes with rock. Starts with a C. I'll let you do the rest.
So there is a history of limericks being quite naughty and dirty, and that's also.
I warned Heather.
Yeah,
that
that's a little.
What about the one about RBG? Ruth Bader Ginsburg from Hannah from Boozy Movies.
Yes, Hannah from Boozy Movies at Boozy Movies Pod. RBG took Harvard law classes, rocked thick black horn-rimmed glasses, Supreme Court Justice swag, does more push-ups than your dad, and kicked patriarchy and sexism's asses.
Love that one.
Which we love. That's Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for those that might not know the RBG reference.
I reached out to the Lady Pod Squad and asked for some. I wrote one about the Lady Pod Squad.
Oh, cool.
There once was a Lady Pod Squad who supported their sister pods. Their love was a force, a never-ending course, creating an awesome pod mob. So then, Hong Kong Confidential, Jules Hannaford, who is an Aussie teacher living in Hong Kong. Really interesting show. There once was a Lady Pod Squad who gave each other the nod. They retweeted their shows like nobody knows and built up each other's cool pods.
Aww.
Sweet.
Lady Pod Squad are awesome. Shout out to Lady Pod Squad and everyone who's a member of that. It's been a theme throughout the Sunshine Summits as well because I have made incredible connections through there. They are very supportive and it is a wonderful place to be. Yeah. Steph agrees. Jules, Hong Kong Confidential, great pod from Jules.
Absolutely. Here's one more from Lady Pod Squad. This is from Body Count Pod.
Yep.
I've heard tale of some ladies fair who do more than just coif their hair. A Lady Pod Squad, my hand to God, creating content in kick-ass footwear.
Awesome.
I thought that was cute.
And here is one from Melissa Brooke, who we affectionately call Mel Brooks.
Her name's not Melissa Brooke.
Oh, see, I did it again. Okay, her name is not Brooke.
We call her Mel Brooke, but her name is not Brooke at all.
Sorry. Her podcast, this is like an ongoing hilarious thing. Her podcast is called Brooke Reading. Her name is Melissa. We've combined it all. It's Brooke Reading Podcast, so just so we all know that. Okay, Here's hers, though. There once was this group of podcasters who helped each other through disasters. Most have never met, but their friendship is set, and their connection has risen to the rafters.
Oh, that's so sweet, right?
That is very sweet. I have a question for you both. When did limericks kind of come into your lives? Because you said about poetry earlier. Have you got any favorite limericks from way back in the day? Or when do you remember a first limerick?
No. I mean, I don't think so. This was sort of an experiment for us too, because we've been trying to see if we can do like a writing prompt that has a theme. And so we're like, St. Patrick's Day, we'll do limericks. And I think in the last one we explained the history of limericks and where they come from and everything. But no, I don't think so. Did you?
No, I didn't. I mean, everybody who was messaging me was like, there once was a guy from Nantucket, and then something. Yeah. And I was just I don't have any memorized. It just seemed like a fun way to write. Like for the holidays, we did the first couple lines of The Night Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, we're trying to just like break it up because there's just regular writing prompts and people are awesome about those, but we're trying to make it fun too. So
we're thinking about doing a haiku down the road.
Cool. I look forward to that one. Do you know the limerick that goes, Dr. Foster went to Gloucester?
No, do it. Dr.
Foster went to Gloucester in a shower of rain. He stepped in a puddle right up to his middle and never went there again. And that is it's fairly simple, but that was in a poetry book that I had or a nursery rhyme book when I was very little, and we had a dress-up day at school. And so I went as Dr. Foster. I had a waistcoat and I had a doctor's bag and a stethoscope and everything like that. So that was one of the limericks that stood out for me from my childhood.
So cute.
I really wish I had gone to elementary school with you.
I know. I dressed
clever costume.
I dressed like Pippi Longstocking for our literary dress-up day when I was in elementary school.
We didn't have one. That's why I dress up all the time now. I'm just kidding.
Making up for lost time.
Yeah.
Well, I feel we probably won't get to read all of the limericks, but we will be reading them on our podcast that'll be coming out this next week. So just in case anyone's listening and we didn't read yours, we'll be also sharing them on the podcast. So,
well, I have a special one that I wrote for you, Heather.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. There once was a Kiwi named Heather, whose voice was as light as a feather. She's off-grid under the sun, a gal that gets things done, and has brought us all closer together.
Oh, thank you.
Yay. Thank you.
That's very sweet. There was one in there was one in the chat. I really appreciate that. There was one in the chat from Bandrew, which he said it might be weird if I read it out. But I will. There once was a Heather who hosted. She never was one who had boasted. Her show was so bright it brought so much light, and she liked her toast to be toasted. I do like my toast toasted, so that works out.
That's so great.
So cute. Love it.
Thank you.
Aw. Yes.
We haven't quite finished up here. We've got a few more minutes, so if anyone has any questions or any other highlights from your experience with Tricia and Siana from Two Girls on a Bench, do let us know. Yeah, I created one a while back for a friend of mine who streams on Twitch, and his character name is Dopeness Monster. And so I said, there once was a streamer named Dope. He loved to drift cars on a slope. In a car racing game for Twitch streaming fame, so fun to watch my friend Dope.
Aw, cute.
That's sweet.
Don't know if I made it today, but there you go. Made it out there. Do you have anything?
I will read...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, does anyone have a question? Oh, sorry. I was just going to read another one really quick. So talk about reconnecting with people. I reconnected with the partner of someone we went to college with that's a writer that's written plays and movies and all sorts of things.
Cool.
And her partner, someone I've met through work randomly, and I was like, I recognize you because you're on her Facebook pictures. Anyway, it's kind of, it felt stalky, but it wasn't. So she sent one in, and this is from right.girl.q. There was a girl, I already messed up. There was a guy named Pete who liked his whiskey served neat. By the end of the night, he wasn't quite right. It knocked him right off of his feet.
Yeah.
Felt very St. Patrick's Day.
It is, yeah.
Yes. Do you ladies celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Do you do anything? Are you going to have a drink together or something? Yeah, I mean, apart from what we've got today.
For us, it's tomorrow.
Yes.
It's so interesting to be talking to someone that's in tomorrow.
In the future.
It feels like very supernatural. But anyway, I think we, every year I've been trying to host a St. Patrick's Day party. It was just us, really. And one time another family came. But I started doing it when your daughter was really little.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do the corned beef. I wanted to do, all the things, everything green, all this kind of stuff. And I didn't do the soda bread this year because we're not going to talk about gluten. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
So, so we do the whole thing. So tomorrow we'll be having a little party with our families.
My kids really look forward to it. They have special outfits they've picked out, and it's all about how Nina, which is what they call Shauna, does the best St. Patrick's Day party.
Yeah.
So.
We're going to do it.
And it's just dinner with fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That is very cool. Steph said that I'm in tomorrow too. Insert horror movie evil laugh here. I don't know. I can't do one.
That was a great evil laugh.
Thank you.
That was good.
I have to say that because it is my birthday today, it is very tricky actually because everyone has, I found throughout my life, had St. Patrick's Day plans. So they all know the event and want to go and get drunk and dress up in green and do all that fun stuff but...
So in New Zealand, people do celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not even sure why do we celebrate it here even?
I mean,
it's a fun
I feel like it's just mostly an excuse for people to drink.
But
there's a lot of food attached to it too. So, I mean, that's kind of where I go with it. Somebody said excuse to drink. Exactly.
Excuse to drink and food.
I mean, we will, of course, have a few drinks as well. But
Quick shout out to Adam, odd dad out. He was married on St. Patrick's Day, so he goes to Olive Garden every year. Congratulations, happy anniversary again, Adam.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh.
Very nice.
Well, because you do amazing things and connect with people in amazing ways, we have amazing ways that people can connect with you. You are all over social media. You have Twitter, Two Girls on a Bench, Facebook, Two Girls on a Bench podcast. You're on Instagram, Two Girls on a Bench. You have your podcast through Podbean, I think, but you are part of the Podfix network, and I don't have that link here, but I will make sure it's available. Can you tell us quickly if that's possible, a little bit about Podfix. I kind of wanted to get to it earlier, but it was great we could cover some of the limericks and things.
Oh, sure. Well, Podfix is a network, I think, that originally started of film podcasters that were doing the same thing that we've been talking about, supporting each other on social media, retweeting, and they decided to join together and make a group. So they have, it's podfixnetwork.com. It's pretty simple, but it's, it's just a lot of different podcasts. I think we've got 14. There's a science podcast, there's movie podcasts, there's Weird With You, which is super weird. There's
More Gooder Than.
Well, Chris Brayton, I think he started it. Well, he's who interviewed us to be part of it.
He's the man in charge.
And then
Lisa and Sam.
Some
other people are telling us we're
listing them all out. I know. So it's the Gravity Beard, and it's what's the Scooby-Doo one? The
Scooby-Doo Justice Project.
Fan encounters. There's just a whole bunch, and
we don't need to leave anyone out. This is like our Academy Award speech. Where I'm so sorry if I forgot somebody.
Oh, what about what's the other one with Morgan? I'm blanking. Too much pressure. So the shows are all over the place in range. They've just recently added. I know more. They just recently added. I feel like more female voices too,
Cool.
Lisa and Sam, and with us, and so
holding up half the sky.
I know. It's a fun network to be a part of. We do that same support thing, and then there are Podfix Network. There's a podcast for the Podfix Network where they'll do collaborations. I think a lot of them have been around like sports events.
Yeah.
Downloading on whatever NFL. Obviously, that's like not my thing.
Clearly, we're not really like up on
something
that.
with a ball, and
we support everyone that does it.
Yeah,
in our minds.
One thing that we've kind of pitched is bringing that audio drama idea to that group, and maybe through that platform.
Yeah,
because there's so many voices. Maybe we could have like a pilot using all these great people, to offer their voice work to something. So. I think there was talk about doing like a karaoke one, and kind of like The Voice, the contest or something. And I think that would be super fun. But everybody has their lives and families, and it takes a lot to get it off the ground. So it's kind of like, it's a gradual build.
Yeah, it's an amazing idea to pull everyone together from the network, and it's great that you enjoy being a part of that network and that they're kind of expanding the range of podcasts that they have there. But yeah, it would be a huge challenge to organize everybody to get all the clips and to put it together, I think. But if you can pull it off, it would be awesome.
Yeah. I can do it.
You can. Of course you can. Yeah.
I say now until it's like 4 a.m. I'm like, Shauna, what did I?
I'm all stop committing to other things. We can barely do what we're doing.
It's been great. The connections with
you can do it all night long. I know. I mean, that's what happens.
We've met other podcasters like Josh Hallmark. Shauna was just on Playlist with him, and I'm going to be on it in a couple weeks. And Keith Gallup from Pop-Up Filmcast. I was on that, making up some fun movie stuff, and so it's been fun to kind of spread out and get to know everybody in the different Facebook groups, and that really Gravity Beard Facebook group really inspired me to get us
the benchlings. We didn't talk about the benchlings.
Yes.
Our listeners have named themselves the benchlings.
Kayla thought of that name, by the way.
Love it. And so now we have benchlings.
Yes.
Like little tiny.
You should say it in a little Irish accent.
I don't know. I can't really do. If I try and do it now, I won't be able to do it because it's just so much pressure and so like international right now. I'll be really scared.
It's a tiny little.
We have a tiny little bench where our benchlings can sit. There's so much weird stuff.
We have a lot of
toys.
No
idea.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken head.
I love wholeheartedly how you tie that all in. It's amazing. And that you managed to have the bench here today to be a part of it. I think it's incredible. There's hashtag benchlings. There's hashtag bench right club that they can find. You've done an incredible job of creating something interesting, fun, useful, motivating, and inspiring. It's helped people, and Brett's enjoying it, and it's amazing that he has that connection with you too from before.
He says your accents are awesome. Sorry.
My accent. Yeah, my accent's always go into some weird southern pink spread.
Oh my god. That was the best.
If that's all right, I have one last limerick to read because it's kind of a
Yeah.
really cool way to round out this one. There once was a lady named Heather. Her life now revolved around weather. She hosted a summit and we've just about done it. Thank you all for coming together.
Oh, yay! That was good.
Who wrote that one?
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, you don't know?
No, it was
you?
me.
Oh, we like so dumb. We're like, really? Did it just fly in from the sky?
I was like, oh, anonymous. And I knew so many details about you. Just kidding. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, someone else could have written it. I mean, it's possible.
Sorry.
I do totally appreciate you. I appreciate everyone here in the live chat. It was so much fun hanging out with you. Nice to meet the new faces of people that I haven't actually interacted with. So thank you for coming along to celebrate Tricia and Shauna and Two Girls on a Bench and being here for the Sunshine Summit March 2019. Thank you, ladies, for helping me close out the finale today in such a fun way. This event
Thank you.
I do this event at this time specifically to kind of tie in with my half podversary. So my podversary will be in another 6 months, but also what an amazing way to spend your birthday, having a whole week of connecting with incredible people. So
That's fun.
yeah,
You're gonna need a little vacation after this.
I think so. Yeah, and also like you said, it's warm for you. It's warm here, and the cake is falling apart. So I think that's
Oh, you better go eat
Time
it.
to go eat the cake.
yeah. Thank you, everybody. This was the Sunshine Summit. Catch all the replays, and yeah, definitely check out everything that the Two Girls on a Bench are doing, and become a benchling. See you later.
Yes.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thank
Keep
you.
writing and snacking, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, keep writing, keep snacking.